Howdy folks, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be doing another episode of World in Flames Collector's Edition, Days of Decision 3, Combined Game Playthrough number 2. This is going to be the July-August turn. The previous turn, the May-June turn, was very active out in the oceans, but the turn itself was kind of short. I don't know what kind of impact that's going to have. Usually summer turns are kind of long, but that one was kind of short. Other than that, I think what we'll do is we'll head right in, get started. Let's take a look at starting money. Starting money is kind of low this turn overall for all the major powers. We have Germany at 1, Japan at -1. Italy at -2, the Soviets are at 0, the Commonwealth is at -3, the US is at -4, and China is at -1, and the Free French are at -6. So the deficit spending definitely continues. And yeah, okay, so I have decided, taking a look at what the major powers could bid for this turn, what they might want to do, and I've got 3 major powers bidding. I have the Free French are bidding, the US is bidding, and Germany is bidding. They're all bidding 1. So let's go over and take a look at how this is going to pan out on the initiative track. There we go. Alright, let's reset the track. Everybody got a political turn last time, so there's no bonus bid points as far as not getting a political option. Okay, so we have the Free French are bidding 1. They bid last turn for increased bid points, which doubles their political effectiveness in bid points. They are at a 3, so that's going to give them 6 bonus bid points, plus their current position of 5 is 2. That's a total of 9. That is definitely putting them in first. The US is bidding 1, get a +4. That's 5. That'll be second for them. And Germany's bidding 1 for +2 for their 4th place finish from last turn. So that's 3. So that'll put them in at 3rd. The first last card will be the Free French, and the last card will be the Germans. Now for the non-bidding major powers, we have the Commonwealth at 3 and Japan at 3. However, the Commonwealth's political effectiveness is a 7, and Japan's is a 4, so the Commonwealth definitely wins that one. And then we have the Soviet Union and the Italians are at 1. The Italians are a political effectiveness of 3. The Soviets are political effectiveness of 5, so the Soviets break that tie. And the Chinese at 0 bring up the rear of the column. Okay, so first up is the Free French. Let's go take a look and see what they want to do. The Free French have decided that they need to get a level 3 treaty with the US, so that is exactly what they're going to do. They're going to offer a level 3 treaty to America. This is all being paid for by the US from the level 2 treaty they already have with the US. Nothing happens right now. I just need to roll to end the political phase, but I don't because of the +2. So there's no chance of getting a 1. So we'll move straight on to the US, who will play their OF option, or whichever one it is, which is accept the proposal. So they will accept the treaty that the French have offered. Now there's a level 3 treaty between the Free French and the United States. I have already put out all the political influence markers, so all we have to do is we have to have France activate a money. And I think who they're going to activate really doesn't matter too much, I don't think. Yeah, I think what we're going to do is we're going to activate We're going to activate Ireland. We got a 2 marker in Ireland, so we'll activate them. Come over to the status display. Grab the marker right here. And you can see the Ireland marker is right here, so this is going to drag it 1 hex closer to France. And that's the end of that. And then, so that's the end of the political. Oh no, we have one more. That's 2. So now there is one previous political option played, and there's a +2 to the die, so we still can't roll a 1. So we're just going to move right on to Germany. We'll see what they want to do. Pretty sure I know what they want to do. Germany is going to sign a minor economic agreement with Spain and acquire one of their resources. It's going to cost them 4 money. The last thing they have to do is activate a minor, and that will put 1 political influence in Spain. I can find it. Yeah. We don't really think we want to activate Spain. That's just going to drive them further away. We actually, yeah, we're not going to activate Spain. I think who we'll activate instead. I think we're going to activate Saudi Arabia just to clear out that 1 U.S. So we'll activate Saudi Arabia. I'm not even going to bother to go over to the status display because it's not going to do anything. And that's the end of the political phase. What I'll do is I'll come back in a second and we'll roll initiative, and then we'll make the all-important weather roll. Alright, initiative time. So grab the dice. You got white for the fascists, red for the communists, and blue for the democracies. The modifiers didn't change. We have a 0 for the Democrats, we have a +1 for the communists, and a +2 for the fascists. Let's roll her up, see what we get. Well, the fascists came out with an 8, which is going to be a +2 is 10. I think they want to go first. They like to go first because it allows them to basically hammer the convoys out in the Pharos Gap, which are not protected again. Alright, and let's see, we got the Democrats are at 8 and the communists are at 8. I don't really think it makes a difference to either of those who goes in what particular order. So I think what we'll do might make a difference in China a little bit. I think we'll have the Democrats go second. And the communists will go last. Alright, let's take a look at the weather roll. The all fun, all important weather. Now there is a +1 to the die for this weather roll. And since the fascists are the initiative winner, they get to roll the dice. And we're in this column right here, July, August. And a 1. That's actually a stupendous roll. Now, it's not the greatest roll. An actual unmodified 1 would have been better. But it's fair weather everywhere except north monsoon and it's rain. So we got north monsoon rain and fair weather everywhere else. The impulse marker will move up 1. And there's no modifier to the weather roll for the next set of impulses. So I'm going to lay out the reinforcements. We'll take a look at them and then we'll get to start the first set of impulses. Here's a look at the reinforcements for this turn. You can see the Germans and all these French ships here at the end of the German line. Those were ships that Vichy was building before she was collapsed. So they actually go to the Germans. amazingly enough. A bunch of CAGs, some Italians, a few Italians, bunch of Russians, and a whole lot of Americans, including 4 pilots and 15 offensive points, another carrier. So things are ramping up. There's a Free French Cav for Syria, which was shattered. And I will get these on the table, and then we will start the first set of impulses. Okay, so all the fascists took land actions. The Germans paid 1 offensive point to get 1 naval move, where they moved all their subs. So the British flew some naval air interception, which they can do. And that, I think that is all. So all I have to do is roll search dice for this zone and for the North Atlantic. I'm going to grab my dice, wherever they are, and see what we get. This could be another hosing for the Commonwealth and the Faroes Gap. Well, that's not that bad. We got a 3 and a 4. Now, I gotta figure out the modifiers on that. So let me be back. I think all the subs, because of the convoy points, there's a -1 to the search die. So all the subs will be in. The British will be allowed to use their naval air as ASW. And I'll figure out the surprise points. 7. Okay, figure out the surprise points. Be back in a second. Okay, there are 0 surprise points. But what we have is 6 pre-ASW. This is pre-sub combat. So that comes out to be 1 sunk sub. So the Commonwealth will pick a sub and see if they can sink it. You know, I'd rather like just kill some. Like that one. That one's an auto, so he's gone. Don't even have to roll. Don't even have to take the chance. Okay, now we have a total of 10 ASW. And the Germans have 6, 9, 25 sub points. That's a total of 9 subs. Okay, so we have 10 ASW against 9 subs. That is going to do, that's the same thing. No, it's not the same thing. It is 1 sunk and 1 damaged. So we'll do that first. 1 sunk. Let's try and sink the snorkel. Yeah, let's try and sink the snorkel. That's a 7. And we did sink him. Down he goes. And now we got 1 damage. We're going to try to damage the Milchow. Actually, for the Germans pick that. We're going to pick this guy. And he's damaged. Alright. So now, coming back, we have 25 sub points against 9, 10 ships. 25 sub points, 10 ships. 2 sunk, 1 damaged. It's actually not really. We'll take 3 convoy points. And for the other sunk, actually, instead of taking those, I think we'll take this. Much better. The damage, the other sunk, I guess we're going to have to go with a Cardiff. That's an 8. That's the Commonwealth rolling that die, and it is indeed sunk. 2 ships down, now 1 damaged. We're going to damage this guy. Yeah, we'll damage 3 convoy points. Yeah, we'll damage that. We'll We'll damage that. That's better to damage. There we go. Now, let's see if there's going to be a round 2. We'll switch dice again. And we got a 10 and a 2. That's bad. That's bad. I'll figure that out. Okay, so that winded up being basically everything is removed from the Pharos Gap. For convoy points, a total of 3 are aborted, 3 are damaged, and 6 got sunk. To 1 aborted sub for the Germans. He'll go home. And I think the Germans will now abort because there's no sense in staying there. And they will just sail on home. They did their job. Now we're going to go over to the North Sea and see what happens over there. So we'll roll switch dice. 6 and a 2, so yeah, nothing. Nothing's going to happen there. Now we get to switch over to the land. Let's go down to the Middle East first. We have a 6-1 here. This is on the Blitzkrieg table. I think I actually have to roll it. Yes, I do. 6-1. We have a +1 for armor. Not going to use HQ benefits. That doesn't matter. 7, star 2B. The Commonwealth units are toast. And I think Egypt is about to fall. I think. I don't really see, because I don't know, you got Rommel sitting in Suez. These guys can still trace supply, I think. I don't even think they can trace supply. How do they get out of here? There's no way out of here. Aswan's not a port. And there's no rail line away from it. So they're basically screwed. They're basically screwed. Oh no, I can trace to Cairo, I think. I'll have to look that up. But I think they might be able to trace supply to Cairo. I think it's a supply source. I'll have to look that up. But anyways, there's no port here, so they still can't, even if it's just a secondary supply source. That's it. What are they going to do? They can't go anywhere, so. Alright, let's move over to the Axis turn in Russia. We basically have 3 attacks. We'll do the automatic one first. This is a 7-1. On the Blitzkrieg table, that is automatic. These 2 units are dead. And the Germans will get to blitz. Like that. That's bad. Over here we have a 6-1. We will fly interception, and then they will fly escort, so we're going to have an air combat. And it's going to be +2, -2. All we have to do is knock that bomber down, and it'll be a 5-1 attack. Where's my other dice? Alright. So the interceptors shoot first. That will be the Russians. Let's see what they get. They get a 19. A 19 is a damn good roll. On the -1, no -2 rather, 19 is AX. Attacker destroys defender's front fighter or front bomber. I think we want to destroy the bomber. And the pilot is killed. That is a big loss for the Germans. They're actually starting to bleed a little bit now, but they do get to shoot back. And they roll a 15 on the +2. That might be something. +2, 15. DX, defender destroyed. The Soviets will get their pilot back. So, but that fighter is destroyed. And he can't be scrapped. He's a 42. I'll have to adjust the pilot. Okay. Now that 6-1 just became a 5-1. That is on the Blitzkrieg table. Don't think we're going to do... It's got a +1 for armor. There's no ground support the Soviets could have flown. 5-1. We're just going to roll it. Take a chance. A 10. Okay, star 2B. Star 2B. Over here, we have another one. Okay, he's got to go fly back, flip over, put him right here. All right, now here we also have ground support mission. This is, however, is just a 3-1 attack. Is that ground support? All right, you gotta check that. I think that might be a ground strike. Okay, that is indeed a ground strike. The Soviets could intercept, but I think we're going to pass on intercepting. I hope he rolls bad. Because what we want to do is we want to throw in some ground support and make the attack really bad. And we want to save the fighter to escort our ground support. Okay, so the Germans have a 6-point ground strike. Okay, the red will be the bottom unit. The green will be the top unit. Well, the top unit is not flipped over, but the bottom one is. All right. And he flies away. Now, fly ground support. The Soviets are going to fly this guy in and this guy in. And we're going to escort him with this guy, and the Germans will intercept with this. See how that works. So we get the fighter stream. Right now we're at 3-1. We could end up being 2-1. 2-1 would be bad. Fighter, fighter, bomber, bomber. Okay, the Soviets roll first. And 8, don't do it. 8. It's going to be -2 again. 8 is a blank, nothing, no effect. The Germans shoot. They get a 7. Attacker aborts, defenders front fighter, front bomber. We're going to abort your front fighter. Now we have a +3, -3 now. That is a -3, 14. Is a blank. And now we'll roll for the Germans on a +3. That's a 10. That's not that great. +3. Attacker clears through. Attacker clears through anyone defending bomber, so I guess you'll get the 3 through. So that's going to change the odds anyways. So the German will abort because it's no, well actually both sides will abort. We don't need 2. We don't need 2 to go in there. So now we're going to have a 2-1 attack instead of a 3-1 attack. We're going to have a +1, +2, +3 because we're going to use Guderian. That's a +3 on the 2-1 table. Blitzkrieg. Yeah, this could be bad. Now, that's not too bad. 5 plus 3 is 8. Cross 1R. So 1 unit is dead. 1 has to retreat. And half the units, German units, are flipped over. Okay, well, we're going to destroy this unit. I don't want to lose the Guards Banner Army. He has to retreat. 6, 9, so I have to have 4 German units flipped over. That's 2, 3, 4. Actually, I don't want to flip that one. I want to flip this one. Surprise, surprise. Okay. Oh, shoot. No, it was out of range. No, it wasn't. I actually had some ACAC I could have used. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Sometimes you just miss things. Or it made a difference. There's one plane. Lowest of 4 dice. Let's just see what we get. We got a 1. That would have been a 5. I think I would have been all set anyways. So there. So that doesn't make much difference anyways. Okay, now let's head over to the Japanese. See what they're doing. We got an attack in China. China. First we have a ground strike. I don't remember what this attack was at. I think it's 3-1. Okay, we have a ground strike. 3 units. I have a 2 and a 3. Oh yes, okay, so it's a ground strike. Actually, the ground strike should be this unit. Okay, he has anti-aircraft, and that's going to be 8 points against 1 aircraft. Lowest of 6 dice. Lowest of 6 dice. Okay, well I don't have to roll the other 2 because I rolled a 1. So that's 1 point. I always forget how this works. Okay, no, it doesn't affect ground strikes. It's just air to sea factors. Okay, so now we have a ground strike of 3 on 3 units. All right, let's see what we get. I'll go top to bottom. Well, there's 1. The white one will be the middle. Oh, let's see. Yeah, top, middle, bottom. I guess. You know what? I'm just going to roll them over because I didn't designate. I didn't designate what was what. So we're going to go white is Mao, green is the artillery, and red is the garrison. Okay, so white is Mao. He is flipped over. The other 2 are unscathed. I should have done that, but sometimes you forget to do things. You roll dice. Oh, shoot, I forgot to allocate. Oh, well. Okay, so that unit flies away. Now we can fly ground support. That makes the attack 3-1. +1. +2. +2. 3-1 +2. let's see what we get. The attack is over here. Right here. That's the attack. 3 to 1 plus 2. 3 to 1 plus 2. That's going to be on the assault table. Alright, let's roll. Three to 1 plus 2. Rolled the green die. Come up with a 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. The assault table, 3 to 1. 8 is dash 1S. So one defending unit is destroyed. The remaining units are shattered. Oh, I think we'll let that one get killed. And these two guys will be shattered. So they will come back. However, another Chinese factory just bit the dust. That's bad. How did he get there? He's supposed to be down here. I think. Oh no, he's supposed to be over here. I'm moving units around. I shouldn't be. Alright, so let's see. We get to advance after combat. I think these two units are going to advance, but they're all flipped over anyways. They're not going any further. And that is a blue factory, I believe. Yes, it is. China's okay with that. I mean, China's not okay with that. Japan is okay with that. That's who's okay with that. They think that's just peachy. All right. I think that wraps it up for the fascist turn. I got some air rebasing to do, and I'll come back and show you the results of the democracies, what they did. And then we'll move on to the communists and do their impulse as well. I don't really anticipate them actually attacking anything, but you never know. So I'll be back in a second. Well, the Commonwealth took a naval, the U.S. took a naval, China took a land, and Free France took a combined. I did look up the Egypt thing, and yeah, all those British units are out of supply now, so I think they're just going to die in place. So as soon as the Commonwealth moves them, they're all going to flip over. So I think Egypt is now a lost cause, but we'll see what happens. Alright, we got a potential naval action right here. Let's roll some search dice and see what happens. There's no naval air involved here. Again, the Commonwealth, the Democrats can't roll dice, but everything is involved. So we are going to have a naval combat, and I'll figure it out and be back in a second. Okay, we came out with a total of 1 surprise point for the Japanese, which means absolutely nothing. We have 27 Commonwealth, American, and Free French ships. Surface points in 11 ships. The Japanese have 30 surface points in 10 ships. The results are the democracies inflict 1 sunk, 1 damaged, and 3 aborted on Japan. Japan inflicts 1 sunk, 2 damaged, and 1 aborted on the combined fleet. So we'll do the. I guess we'll do the democracies first. What do they want to sink? I think they want to sink this guy. Ashigara. Yeah. I'm going to try and sink the Ashigara. That's a 7. A 1. He goes down. The Ashigara is now sunk. And then we got 1 damaged. Let's try and damage. We'll try and damage this guy. The Suzuyu. That's a 6. And he is damaged. So he's going to be damaged. And then we got 3 aborted. Let's try to abort the Maya, the Mikasa. It's aborted. Now, if we don't really get hosed, I'll try to abort this guy. That's a 6. Actually, it's Japan's. We'll go with that one. We'll go with the 8. The 8 is aborted. And the last abort will be another 8. It is not aborted. So these two are aborted. They're going to end up back. Quageline, I think. No, truck. End up back in truck. And then we have the Japanese. They have 1 sunk, 2 damaged, and 1 aborted. This guy is sunk. One sunk. Let's try to go for the New Orleans. We'll sink the New Orleans. If we can roll a 6. And we do. And he's sunk. Now I got 2 damaged. The Australians will volunteer to be damaged. That's a 7. And they're only aborted. They get aborted. And the last one's an abort. We're going to go with the Savannah. See if we can abort that. That's a 6. And it's only half aborted, so it's not aborted at all. I'm thinking he's half damaged. He's damaged. Alright, we're going to roll to see if there's another round. Either side want to abort. No. We're going to roll to see if there's another round. No, there isn't another round. The Japanese are in the 3 box, and they rolled a 4. The democracies are in a 3 and a 4 box, and they rolled an 8. So nobody is... The fog of war got him. So this guy is going to be damaged and go in the damage box. And, yeah, things are starting to attrition. So that's going to stay in there. I'm going to just put this here like that. Things are starting to attrition. Oh, I just wanted to show you one thing. I forgot to roll the combat, but there was a fight against the partisans here. It resulted in a partisan being destroyed and 2 Ukrainian units being destroyed. So not really a good roll as far as the Germans are concerned. Okay, we have 2 possible sub-actions. We'll roll them here and here. So that's just going to be search rolls. We'll go for China Sea first. Nope. That was a good shot, but nope. And we'll go for South China Sea. And they did find something. Okay. We'll figure that out in a second. Okay, the Commonwealth has 4 surprise points here. We have 8 ASW against 1 sub. That's 2 damages and 1 abort. So he's going to automatically be... Oh, he's got to roll. 8 ASW, 1 sub. Ooh, 2 damages. So we're going to roll 2 dice. We're going to roll... The first one's for an 8. He's damaged. And the second one, he's sunk. 2 damages is a sunk. But he has 2 sub points. I could have moved it over there. We got 2 sub points. And there are a bunch of ships here. 6 ships. 1 aborted. That's not great. Oh, I know. I got 4 surprise points. So I'll shift it over 2. That's going to be 2 damage, 1 damaged, and 3 aborted. 1 damaged. We're going to pick the convoy points, obviously. Those will be damaged. And then we got an aborted. we'll take the cruiser. That's an 8. And a 9 is only half aborted. And another aborted, we'll try it on the same thing. Now he's fully aborted, so he'll go home and stay right there. And that's the end of that. And I think that's the end of the democracy's turn. And we will move on to the Soviets. I gotta go fix their front somehow. And I'll be right back with a review of what they did. Okay, the Russians pieced together another line. I actually looked, I was thinking about it last turn. I actually looked at backing these units up a hex to straighten the line a little bit. But because it's kind of weak in the north, I have to double up some units, so I don't really gain anything by it. I don't think. I'm not going to do it this turn anyways. I might have to in a future turn. Because I really think, I'm looking at it, there's a lot of German strength down here. And they have enough offensive points to boost one of their HQs. And they're just, I'm thinking they're just going to blow through this line. And then they're going to have the Caucasus, which is going to be bad. That's going to be a bad thing. But we might be able to survive that. So we're gonna keep going. Right? Oh, I still have to move the Chinese communists. We have a hole to plug. But I think that was about it. I think we'll move on. As soon as I move the Chinese communists, I think we're going to move on to the weather roll and the next set of impulses. So I will be back in a second. Okay, the weather roll was a 1. I forgot to press the record button again. And so that's fair weather everywhere. I think all the fascists are going to take land actions again. And I'll come right back with the results of that as soon as I figure out who's doing what, where. Okay, we have some good stuff happening this turn. Grab my tweezers. Let's see. We got the ground strike to start off with here. We got the 2-factor ground strike. There's 2 units. And of course, I'm just going to lose it, and the counters are going to go everywhere, as usual. Alright, so 2 units. Top one's red, bottom one's green. Nothing. Now I got 2 ground support. With these 2 units right here, we'll provide ground support. That's 2. That gives me a 5-to-1 attack. I guess the British are going to provide HQ support. It doesn't really matter. If they die, it won't matter anyways. And I will provide HQ support with Rommel. So it's going to be +1, -1. The HQ support cancels out. The armor is a +1, but it's multinational, so that's a -1. So it's going to be straight up, 5-to-1 straight up. Let's roll a die, see what happens. Well, a 10. Well, you can't get any worse than that for these guys. Blitzkrieg's Star 2B. Can't get any worse than that. And they can actually blitz, and they will. I'm going to occupy something with this. We'll go here. And I guess the 6-4 will go here. And that can go there. Yeah. And that is probably going to be it for down there. I think it's just going to be chewed up now. And then obviously the Italians and the Germans that are down here are going to end up coming over here. Alright. I don't know if they can stop that or not, but we'll find out. Okay, now we're going to go to Russia. Where are we? Oh, here. here we are. All right. So we got a whole bunch of attacks. We got 4 of them. They're all 5-to-1 attacks. There is a ground strike. No, this is ground support. The ground strike's coming from the Nebelwerfer. I mean the railgun. Sorry. So we got 3 units here. So we're going to go top is red. Middle is green. And the bottom is the white. Top red. It's a 3, a 4, and an 8. So the bottom one does not get flipped over. But these 2 do. And the bottom one does not get flipped over. So those 2 do. So now, and that flips over the 800mm railgun. Now we're going to go, we have a 5-to-1. It's going to be on the assault table. Got a +2 right now. We're going to add HQ support. I can force them to do HQs. Actually, you know what? That's 4 minus 2 is 2 divided by 4 is 0.5, which is still a +1. So no, they're not going to add their HQ support because it won't make a difference. It won't make a difference. So now it's going to be 5-to-1 +3. This is on the assault table. That's a 5, which becomes an 8. That's asterisk 2S. So 2 units are shattered. I think right there. 2 of these guys are shattered. I mean, 2 of these guys are dead. I think these 2. And I think the Nebelwerfer will be shattered. But unfortunately, that means Stalingrad just got taken. Over here we have another 5-to-1. And I'm not going to use HQ benefits. This is on the Blitzkrieg table. So we're just going to roll it straight up. That's a 9. Star 2B, don't even really have to look. I think this is mounting into a disaster for the poor old Soviets. I can't blitz though because I don't have enough units to blitz. I love to blitz right here. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna take a chance. We're gonna push the 3. He could attack it. But will he? Yeah, he could. You know what? Meinstein's going to go into that hex. Yeah, we will do that. There. Over here we have another 5-to-1. Add the HQ effects, it's going to flip that guy over. He really probably needs to move. So I guess no HQ effects from the Soviets or from the Germans. We got a 5-to-1. This is +1. Another 9. God. That's the Battle of Stalingrad is taking part a year later. And we have a final 5-to-1 down here with a +1. That's a 4, which is a 5. 4, which is a 5 on the 5-to-1 is star B. Okay, so he gets shattered. Oh, can blitz. Can blitz. I don't know if you can overrun when you blitz. But there's a ton of armor here. I don't know, I have to look that up. I don't know if I can blitz to overrun, and it's a city, so I gotta check that out. Okay, so the Germans can indeed overrun this hex. It costs twice as many movement points, so the unit is flipped face down. 10 to 1 overruns that 1 point unit. So the Germans just captured Grozny. I think that's how it's pronounced. And we got an attack over here in the wonderful Pacific. We got a 4 to 1 here. We're going to use HQ benefits. I don't think that the British want to do that, because if they do, that unit would be stuck there. I'm going to use them. I'm going to use HQ benefits. So now it's going to be a 4 to 1 straight up on the assault table. So far, the Germans have rolled stupendously good, and I don't know how the Japanese are going to do, but let's find out. 4 to 1, straight up, assault table. Well, okay, wow. Okay. That's a 9, folks. 9, 4 to 1. Asterisk 2S, so that unit is dead. Wow, 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 wow. That's a mechanized in jungle. 8 points, not good. It's not white print, so the Japanese, but these 2 units are, and they can just advance. And that's bad, that's bad, that is bad. And this guy is dead. He will be carried. So that is the end of the fascist impulse. I will move on to the Democrats. See what they're going to do, if anything. I think they're kind of reeling right now. But, yeah, move on to Democrats. Okay, I just finished up the Democrats. They both took land actions. The Chinese took a land action too, but they don't really have much to do. We have a land attack in Africa, and we have a potential naval battle over here. Let's see what happens. Let's roll some dice. Oh, a 2 and a 2. Looks like they're all involved again. It's going to be 1 surprise point if I calculated it correctly, so I'll figure that out and be back in a second. Okay, so we have 1 surprise point. Yeah, 1 surprise point for the Americans, and which doesn't do anything. And the totals are, we have 22 surface points and 9 ships for the Americans, and we have 15 surface points and 6 ships for the Japanese. So that results in Japan suffering 1 sunk, 1 damaged, 2 aborted, and America suffering 1 sunk and 1 damaged. So we'll do the Americans first. We got 1 sunk, 1 damaged. We're going to try to sink the Chokai. It's a heavy cruiser. It's a 6. And it's sunk. Wow. Oops. Don't throw it on the floor. Chokai goes down. And we got 1 damaged. We'll damage... actually, Japan will pick this guy. That's an 8. And he's damaged. And then 2 aborted. We'll go the 8 and the 7. The 8 is not aborted, and the 7 is aborted. So the 7 is aborted. And then we got, for Japan, we got 1 sunk and 1 damaged. Yeah, all these 3.6 cruisers are all the same. Well, that one's a 3.5. We'll go with that. The 3.5 to be sunk. 3.5 to get sunk, and he is sunk. The Baltimore. It's actually a really good cruiser. And the damage, we'll take the Marblehead. That's an 8, and that is damaged. So he's sunk, and he is damaged. So we got 2 ships that are damaged. They're going to go to the damage. I think the Japanese are going to abort. Away they go. Hang out in truck. And we got 2 damaged and 2 sunk ships. Oh, well, America won something in the Pacific. Whoa. Okay, I'll police this up, and I'll be back with the land combat in Africa. So the 2-to-1 here was a roll of 8. It killed 1 Italian unit and flipped 1 British unit, or Commonwealth unit. And the only reason why I did that is those 2 units are going to be dead anyway, so why not try to kill something? Okay, so that's going to wrap it up for the Democrats' impulse. I'll be back with the Russians, see what they can do, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. Okay, I just finished the Soviet impulse, and this is what it kind of looks like. We did indeed retreat, so we shortened our line. The only problem with that is that now it allows the Germans to concentrate even more. We're pretty good right in through here. Right in through here is pretty tough. But then we get to this, well, let's show you. Then we get down here and here into the Caucasus area, and basically you can see there's huge gaps here. And that's filled in by these units here, so that these units here are actually in through here, off map. That's where these hex numbers are. Like this is hex number 31, so it borders this hex. So this hex borders 31, 32, and 33. So 31, 32, 33 all border this hex. So I think we'll do the weather roll for the fascist impulse. See how that is. It doesn't look very good right now. Doesn't look too good for the Democrats. I didn't expect the Caucasus front to just disintegrate like this. But I'm kind of happy that the Americans at least won 1 naval battle. Alright, so let's do a weather roll. There's no modifier for this. The only thing that can really save him is a really bad weather roll at this point. Like a 1. Alright. See what we get. A 4. That's not going to save him. 4 is fair weather everywhere, rain and north monsoon. The impulse marker moves up 1, and there's no die roll to the there's no modification to the weather die roll for next turn. So I will take a look, see what they're going to do, and we'll go from there. Okay, okay, we're back. We're going to keep going, see what happens. Sorry, excuse me. Let's see. So there's nothing happening in the Atlantic this turn. The German U-boats are all back in port. They all got aborted or used or whatever. So there won't be any more of that going on. But so the Germans took a land, the Italians took a land, and the Japanese took a naval. So we got a couple of attacks here, and then we got the ground strikes and possibly air combat and possibly other ground support for the Germans there. We'll just start down here at the bottom. What we got here is a 6-to-1 on the Blitzkrieg table. And the Russians are going to use HQ support. So it's going to be +1, -1 at 621. On the Blitzkrieg table. Roll a die. Oh, it's a 6. 6 to 1. Star 2B. Both Russian units are toast. Don't think the Germans can blitz onto the other board, though. I don't think. Well, they can, but they'll end up flipped over. And anyways, this hex here borders 27, which is right here, which has 7 points in it. So yeah, there won't be any blitzing. But we'll occupy the hex. Well, over here we have another 5 to 1. There's no Russian ground support, so there is an HQ there. We're going to use HQ effects for the Soviets. Don't know if I have an HQ here. I have overwhelming armor, though. Yeah, I definitely have more armor. He's got one armored unit. I got one armored unit. And I have mechanized as well, so I think that gives me a +1. That's a 5 to 1. It's going to be straight up. 5 to 1 straight up Blitzkrieg. That's a 6. That is a. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The Germans. That's a division, so that only counts as half. They have a mechanized unit, but the Russians have a full armored unit, so that's going to give them a -1. Hey, the motorized don't count. Yeah. So -1. So 6 becomes a 5. That's star B. Bad enough, but at least the Russian units did not die. They will get to come back next turn. Because they're both shattered. Now, of course, the Germans are going to blitz, of course. Why wouldn't you? I'm going to wreck that line good. Now over here, a little bit to the north, we have a couple of ground strikes. Now I got to decide, do we intercept the ground strikes? We have one fighter. It's a 4. We have 2 fighters. They're both 4s. Yeah, we're going to intercept with 1. We're going to intercept with this guy. And the Germans are not going to counter-intercept. So we got a 4 on a 4. A fighter against a bomber. Alright. So the Russians roll first. They get an 8, which is bad. That's on the straight up. An 8 is defender. Defender aborts. Defender aborts own front fighter or front bomber. I guess we got to abort our front bomber. And then the Germans roll. And that's an 11. That's the worst you can roll. That's, I think, nothing. Defender clears through, own front fighter, front bomber. And then we got the 4. We got a +3, -3. We'll go one more, see what happens. That is a 11. 11 on the +3. Defender clears through. Okay, so 1 bomber gets through. 1 bomber gets through. So we got ground strike. This bomber got aborted. And this fighter goes back. Wherever. Now we got a ground strike here. These guys are 4s. 1, 2, 3 units. So it's going to be from left to right, red, green, white. Red, green, white. So the middle unit is not flipped. The other two are. So this is going to be a 4-to-1. Now, ground support. I think the Russians are going to throw in their ground support, escorting with a fighter, and the Germans are going to counter-intercept with their fighter. And I think this is the smartest way to go. So another air battle. I'm sorry, this guy's got to go home somewheres. I guess he can land here. Okay. So we're at +3, -3. The Russians roll a very good 17. 17. Attacker aborts. Attacker aborts. Defenders front fighter, front bomber. So that's going to be my front fighter. The Russians came through really big time on that one. And then we're going to roll on this one. That's a 7. That's a bad roll on a +3. 7. Attacker aborts. Attacker aborts on front. Defenders front fighter, front bomber. We're going to abort the front bomber. So the fighter goes away. The other fighter that the Russians have going to go land somewheres. And this bomber goes in and changes the odds from 4-to-1 to 3-to-1. We are going to use HQ benefits. I believe we have one here somewheres. Or maybe I don't. And I think I don't. I don't. So I will not use HQ benefits because I don't have one. Germans don't have an HQ. So now we're down to 3-to-1. And we have +1, +2, +3. 3-to-1, +3 on the Blitzkrieg table. That's an 8. Cross B. Cross B. So half the units stay upright. This guy's going to fly away. All these units are shattered. Unfortunately, this is a breakthrough. The Soviet air support, half of them stay upright, so I think he's going to break through. He's going to break through. He's going to go into this hex with this infantry unit. 2, 3, 4. There was a total of 9 units here, so I got to have 4 flipped. There's 2. And 3. And I'll put this one there. Oops, I'm going to blitz with this one. And that's the 4th one. Artillery will stay upright. And I think that's going to wrap it up for the Russian front. We're going to move down to Africa. And we got a nice little attack down here, trying to wrap up the Egyptian. We got a 3-to-1 here. HQ benefits, that's +1, +2. We have armor, overwhelming armor. That's a +3. So we got 3-to-1, +3 on the Blitzkrieg table. I just rolled that. I rolled pretty crappy. Alright, 3-to-1, +3. Oh, I rolled pretty crappy again. That's a 3, which becomes a 6. Oh, -R. Okay, well, they have nowhere to retreat, so they're gone. All these units are going to be flipped over because that's just the way, because there's no asterisks or cross, so the attacking units will be flipped over. All of them. But that's okay. Because now Egypt is completely wrapped up. There are no more Commonwealth units here, and all this stuff can go over there. That's plain supposed to be there. Okay, there's no attack. I want to show you North Africa, what that looks like right now. So we have a line of Italian units here in Algeria, right here. We have a Free French headquarters with, I think there's a Free French infantry unit under there. Oh yeah, the Moroccan infantry unit. And we have advancing into that area. We have some Commonwealth, we have some Americans, a bunch of Americans, a whole bunch of Americans. Another Commonwealth Infantry Corps. There's a whole bunch of Americans up in England that can come down. So there will be a significant presence down here shortly. And probably some of those units in Egypt will end up going over there as well. Okay, now let's go and check out the Japanese. The Japanese are launching a port attack on the American fleet in Australia. Keep this here. Okay. So, I gotta figure this out. There are 2 fleet counters there, so it'll be both. So this is flying combat air patrol. I gotta figure out the surprise points and everything, and I'll be right back with that. Okay, so we roll dice. Well, 5 and a 1. That's probably bad for the Japanese, so, excuse me. The highest modified search number of the units included in the combat. Okay, so modified search number of the units included in the combat. So for the, I think I gotta check, but okay, there's a, so that's a 5. So that's 5. No, it's a 6. They have some range 7 planes, so it's a 6. And your opponent unmodified, so that's 7. So the Japanese get 7. And now we got, okay, modified search number of the units included in combat. For the, they have a 6. They're in the 6 box. So that's 6. That's 11. So there's 4 surprise points. So there's going to be no combat because they're going to choose a combat type that, okay. Okay, so we can avoid combat. We have 4 surprise points. We will avoid combat. We will spend those to avoid combat. And there's no port attack. So, lucky, lucky, lucky for the Americans, because they would have got hosed. And I think that's it that we're doing. I think so. Alright, so that's it for the fascist turn. We're going to turn to the democracies now and see what they do. Now, forgot one thing. There's a potential naval combat over here. Roll such dice. Well, there is a naval combat. Now this is the advanced fleet, which has all the Japanese battleships in it, including the Yamato, the Musashi, the Nagato, the Mutsu, the not the Kirishima, the Ice, the Haruga, all of them. So I think the Americans with their little cruisers are going to avoid combat. And at the end of the turn, I think the Americans are just going to abort and go to American Samoa and be very happy right there. Actually, they're going to go down here to Suva. And we'll leave the Japanese in possession of that because I don't really want to have my cruisers blasted out of the ocean by massive Japanese battleships, even with all those surprise points. It ain't worth it. Alright, so that's it for the fascist turn. Now I'll go to the Democrats. I've already looked them over. I don't really see, they're just going to move some units here and there. And I don't really think they're going to do too much other than that. So probably going to end up going straight to the communists after this. Okay, got the Soviets done. Here's what the front looks like now. They managed to peg together another line, though it doesn't look pretty. Now you might be wondering about this area right in here, because the line kind of goes like this now. And the reason that I didn't just retreat back to this hex row right here is this is the city of Tula. It's another factory. I haven't railed it out. Been trying to hold on to it and hold on to it and hold on to it. I mean, where does the backpedaling stop? Moscow? So it doesn't look very good. There is a unit here. It is flipped over because I railed it in. But the only saving grace is that these German units down here are fronted by this. So it will be kind of difficult for them to break through, but it's not impossible. It's definitely not impossible. So that's it for that. There's some units down here I could try to salvage, but then that's just going to open up a front with the Turks. And right now, the Germans are sitting on this rail line right here, and that cuts the oil supplies to the Caucasus. So the Russians are going to lose out on another 4 oil resources. They have plenty of reserve oil. It's the fact that those 4 oil resources will account for some of their production, so their production is going to get cut. But hey, that's the way it is. Let's go. Let's roll weather. We're back to the fascist impulses. Let's make a weather roll and see what happens. Alright, weather roll is a 9. A 9. And July, August is fair, 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 storm, fair, fair. So north monsoon moves to storm. That's not really a big deal. It's not really a big deal. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at what the Germans got going on. Obviously, they're going to take another land. I don't know. And we'll go from there. Okay, so the Italians are not doing too much. A lot of their armies flipped over, so they really can't do anything. They did kind of dress up their lines over there in North Africa. The Japanese ended up shuffling a few units around. They don't have any attacks either. Most of their fleets have been used up, so we do have some attacks here in Russia, though. Okay, the first attack, and it took me a little while to figure this out, is going to come from these 3 hexes here onto this hex. I had to cross-reference the hex numbers on this board with the hex numbers on this board to see which hexes were next to which ones. Anyways, the odds come out to be 8-1. That's an automatic dead because it's blitzkrieg. get rid of these dice, and now we got to decide who's going to occupy the hex. I think these two here, and maybe this one. And he could blitz. It's going to cause him to flip over. I don't think so. I don't think he can blitz. That's a swamp hex. Can't blitz in swamp hex. Has to be 1 point to enter the first hex. The next one can be whatever, so we will. That's going to flip this 8-6 over, but Astrakhan falls. We have a 4-1 attack here. It's going to be a +1/+2 on the Blitzkrieg table. +2 is 1R. So they got a break. The Russians got a break because all those German units are going to get flipped over now. One R, but they can occupy the hex, which they're going to do. They're just going to be all flipped over. The problem for the Russians is that they have basically run out of units to plug holes. And that is their biggest problem right now. And that is it for attacks. No, wait a minute. I think I got one right here. 12, 20, 24, 30 to 7. That's a 4-1, +1 on the Blitzkrieg table. +1. Yeah, we'll roll it. 4-1 +1. Oh, that's a bad roll. That's a 1-1. So the Russian unit is dead, but a German unit has to be lost. Which unit are we going to lose? I think the 4-5 armored. That's a 4. They're both 4s. Takes 4 turns. Takes 3 turns. Okay, the division dies. I'll occupy. All these units are flipped over now. I don't remember where he was. I think he was there. So, that I should have used HQ effects, but hey. That's what happens sometimes. You just don't do it, and that's what happens. I think that's the end of the German impulse. The Germans are definitely running out of units to use. But what's left of the Russians? Not a whole lot. Alright, okay, done. Okay, we gotta go to the Democrats' impulse. I'll be back with a summary. Okay, so the Democrats, this is the first impulse where the turn can end, have decided that they're all going to pass, because there's really nothing that they have that they can do at this point. I mean, they could shuffle a little bit more units in North Africa, but I think it's more important to end the turn and increase the odds from 1/10 to 1/5, and I think we're going to do that. I'm going to roll a die, see if the turn ends. And a 4, I'm sorry, it does not end. We'll move on to the communists. And see what they can do. I'll be back in a second. Okay, the Russians have decided they're going to try to save their butts. They have an attack they're going to launch. It's right here. Trying to eliminate some of these salients. The only reason why they're really doing this is that there's so many German units flipped over now that the Russians are thinking that the teeth has come out of the German offensive. So we're going to roll a 4-to-1 attack on this. It's on the Blitzkrieg table because we have, oh, maybe not. We have the same number of armor as they do, so it's going to be on whatever table they want. We're going to use HQ effects. So it's going to be 4-to-1 on the assault table with a +1. The Russians are looking to get lucky here. Roll a really high die. Save their... 3 is not a really high die on the 4-to-1. That's going to be a 4. -1. -1. I'll lose this. That's going to flip over all the Russian units. I don't know, it's a German unit? Yeah, the German unit is flipped over. But unfortunately, all the Russian units are flipped over. And that is not very good. What a mess. What a mess. What a giant mess. That is the end of the Russian impulse. We're going to roll a die to see if the turn ends. We need a 1. Praying for a 1. I got a 10. I guess not. So we're going to roll weather. There's no modifier for the weather roll from last turn, so we're just going to roll the die. This is a... That's a 10. That doesn't make any difference. There's a +1 to the weather roll for next turn. It's fair, fair, fair. Storm, north monsoon, fair, fair. +1 to the weather roll for next turn. Alright, we'll see what the Germans can put together here. And go from there, I guess. I don't see the Italians doing too much except shuffling a few units around. Don't really want to take a naval with the Germans. I would love to go and sortie the fleets, but I think it's more important to hammer the Russians to death. The problem with the Germans is that they have so many units flipped over now that scraping something together is going to be kind of difficult. I'll be back in a second. Okay, the Germans managed to scrape together enough to get in 2 attacks. First attack is right, there's no air support anyways that's left. So the first attack right here is a 5-to-1. That's a +1 on the Blitzkrieg table. 5-to-1, +1 on the Blitzkrieg table. Well, that's not good. That's 3, which is a 4. Cross B. So that unit is shattered. And half the German units remain face up. Half the units remain face up. I have 6, so we'll flip this guy. And this guy, actually this, I only need to flip 2. I'll occupy with that one. Yeah. There's only 5 units. Now we have another attack over here. It's off maps on the Pacific map. Right here, it's an 8-to-1 on the Blitzkrieg table. That's an automatic. And we'll occupy the hex. I think this might be the end of Russia. I think this might be the end. We're breaking through here. Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I'll keep going. The Italians got nothing going on. The Japanese, their fleets are kind of exhausted at this point. And it's storm and north monsoon, so they really can't do anything down there as well. They will move this guy up and this guy up, even though it'll flip them over. That's okay, because they'll be ready for next turn. Alright, I think that's it. Got to shuffle these guys. Now we got to roll to see if the turn ends. We're now on a 2 to end the turn. We'll roll a die. An 8 does not end the turn. Alright, we'll be back in a second. Okay, the Democrats are going to try it again. They're going to try to end the turn. They need a 2. With a +1 is going to give them a 3. So let's see what happens. An 8 doesn't do it. We'll move on to the Soviets and see what they got in store. Okay, quick summary of what happened in the Russian impulse. Basically, retreating again. The Germans are definitely on the Caspian Sea now. I don't know how this is going to pan out. Alright, we'll roll for weather for the next set of impulses. We have a +1 to the weather roll. 9, which is a 10. That's the same weather as last turn. Okay, I'll take a look at what the fascists might want to do here. They're kind of running out of steam too, but alright, we'll take a look. Okay, the Germans have 1 attack. They have a 5 to 1 +1 right here. That's an 8. I think that's star 2B. Yes, it is. Russians are going to get a gazillion cadre. I'm going to push Meinstein out here. These 2 units. And that's it. That's the only attack they had. And actually, we can blitz from this hex. Nah, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. Okay, that's it for the fascists. Let's roll to see if they end the impulse. They need a 2. The Italians didn't do anything. The Japanese, well, the only thing they can do is possibly in the north monsoon, and guess what? Storm. So pretty much ends any hope of doing anything down there. So let's roll the die and see what happens. That definitely does not end the turn. Unfortunately, I think that ended the game. I think that ended the game. And the reason why I say that is that with the Germans on the Caspian Sea, the Russians don't have any tankers. So it's going to be almost impossible for them to get their Persian oil sources to their factories. This also is cut off. That's 4 oil there, so they're going to lose a total of 7 oil. Plus they've lost a factory. This turn is not over. It could run another set of impulses, maybe even 2 more sets of impulses. And the Germans are going to be just moving up through here and coming out in through. Let me show you. Like next turn, I don't really see the Russians have too many more units here. I mean, they might be able to get a unit here. Yeah, they probably could. So then the Germans will just move around it like that, or just attack it outright. The Germans still have a number of mobile units, so that's, yeah. And even if the Russians could do that, let's say the Germans don't do that and break through here and drive up in this direction, the whole Russian front is compromised. I mean, they're going to be hitting Moscow and maybe a couple turns from the backside. So I think that this is pretty much going to end it. I would keep playing if the Japanese were on their back heels, but they're not. They're kind of pushing the limit of their ability to expand right now. But they have it in their plans that they were going to hit Australia this turn. Either this turn or next turn. As soon as the weather's nice in that area. Probably next turn they can be set up for that, because their strike fleets in that area right now are exhausted. So, the Italians, I mean, their fleet and the German fleet when they sail out into the Bay of Biscay, it's almost impossible for the Americans and the Commonwealth to contain them. I'm just thinking there's no possibility that, I don't even think America will be able to land in France in 45. Never mind 44. They still got this problem down here in the Middle East. Right here. I mean, all this stuff is going to go over there. So now the Germans are going to be pushing into Iraq, into this area, and then eventually Iran, and then maybe even India. Or drive up through Iran and up into the Soviet Union in that direction. So it's really bad. I'm surprised that the democracies did a little bit better in this game than the last game. And I think the Soviets did a little bit better too, but I think there was just some bad rolls they had, and the Germans got some really good rolls, and I don't know. I got to think a little bit. If I do a solo playthrough of this again, I'm definitely going to have to think about the strategy that the Soviets pursue, and also I got to think about how the democracies pursue their strategy as well. I don't really think that I play America right. I think the Americans need to be played a little bit different than how I play them. Maybe a little bit more, just do nothing but build fleets until they have a gear up. Which their first gear up is 39, and then it's treaty, and more treaties. I think that's what the U.S. should be doing. Yeah, so I actually had a great time playing this game. It is very complex, and, well, it's complex from the standpoint of having one person try to play 8 major powers, and plus all the minors, and deal with all the political and military things associated with that. So it is kind of complex from that aspect, but the game itself flows pretty good. You do have to access the rules. I mean, it's every once in a while you got to go through the rules and look for something. I'm always looking up the surprise point rules because I can never remember what they are exactly. But I'm also going to have to think through the French and Commonwealth strategy before the war breaks out in Europe. Because the Germans seem to have this strategy of France first and ignore Poland. And it seems to just devastate the French. I mean, they just don't seem to be able to handle it. So I got to think that through. I mean, there may be an alternative strategy, like just don't worry about it and try to build up the Free French element of the French. Something like that, maybe. Yeah, it's been really fun playing this game, and I want to thank everybody who's liked my videos and watched my videos. I appreciate that. And I think this summer I'm probably going to do a couple of short games for playthroughs. I got a couple games. I got like the old War and Peace. I might want to break that out and do a game of that. That might be pretty interesting. I got a couple other old games too. I might want to break those out. See how they run through. But yeah, I think this is going to be it. I don't see any sense of going forward. There's no way that the communists and the Allies can push the Germans back so that the Germans and the Italians and Japanese are defeated. There's just no way at this point. We're already going to be advancing. I mean, the next turn is September, October. That's going to have some good weather. And the Russians are going to get hammered again because all those German units are going to unflip. Plus, I haven't even played around with the German fleet this turn. I'm sure that could be very devastating to the Allies. They don't seem to have a lot of carriers. I think the next time I do this playthrough, I'm going to have to concentrate on building carriers for the both the Commonwealth and the United States. I mean, they just don't seem to have a lot of carriers, so it hobbles them a little bit. The Japanese got plenty of carriers. That's the problem with the Americans, is the Japanese have so many of those little carriers, and they add up. So, but yeah, I'm going to end it right here. And like I said, appreciate everybody watching, liking, subscribing. And I'll probably see you pretty soon. Probably be doing another video in the next couple of months. So got to get this picked up and set something else up and figure out what I'm going to do. I also might do a live stream wargaming session with my group. Maybe Battletech or something like that, but we'll see. We'll see. So that's it. I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you in the next series.